welcome to TYP Art Chat, Jutta. It's great to be here. Would you like to say hello to our audience?
Hello, everyone. My name's Jutta. I'm based in the UK. I'm down in the south, near the sea. If it was a good day, you could hear it, but we can't hear it today. It's not good enough. So, and I'm an artist. I've been doing that since I was 3.
Wow.
Yeah, there are various types. My mum still has a drawing. They took me for some kind of doctor's test. I don't know. And he drew out shapes and I copied the shapes, and my mum still has the piece of paper because I copied.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. Wow.
Yeah.
Actually, it was fun because before you were joining, I was talking about this book, and there's an essay about Jenny Holzer, so the artist, and it talked about that when she was young, she discovered a painting. That's the Lady with the Hermit, painted by Leonardo da Vinci, and she actually saw this one, and she actually saw this was a self-portrait painted by this lady, and she fell in love with this painting, and she, she had this revolution, like, as a girl, I can also be an artist. So from the moment on, she decided to be an artist. And later on, she discovered it was actually a masterpiece by Da Vinci. So yeah, this is Jenny Holzer. So what made you decided to be an artist?
Well, when we were little, if we wanted any art supplies, we didn't have to buy them. My dad would always supply us with art supplies, paper, pens, paints, not whatever we wanted, but if we wanted art supplies, we were always, and we were encouraged to do it. And it's just always been fun and something that I've really enjoyed doing. So I always wanted to do it, but I was encouraged not to. I was encouraged not to be an artist because my dad didn't get to do what he wanted. Oh, this is very weird, but he wanted to do something and wasn't allowed, so he went into picture frame carving. So he had contact with he had contact within the art world for a lot of people and didn't think it was the right thing to do, because at the time, you're talking before the internet, so at that time you had to know people, you had to do the right thing, you had to, do you know what I mean? You had to have the contacts, which is a lot different now. Contacts are still helpful, but you can put your stuff out there without anybody saying, oh no, you can't, So I was allowed. I was not allowed to do art at GCSE because my dad didn't like the art teacher.
You told me that. You still went for that, and
I was allowed to do textiles because it wasn't art. And then at A-level I was allowed to do art, and then he allowed me to do foundation, and he allowed me to do a degree. But he really didn't want me to do it.
But still, he supported you, right? And I mean, it was also very courageous from your side. But I think that happens usually when we're a child. We want to do something the parents don't want us to do.
It's very complicated.
Yeah, I would imagine so. But it's great that you pursue it. Really like the pursuit of art. And speak of social media, internet today. I think it's really great, I guess, for artists to reach to a larger audience, because it's actually by Instagram that I met you. I discovered your artworks, and I still remember that Black Forest. It was the first one that marked my mind, a huge impression, because at the time I was reading a science fiction novel called 3 Bodies. So it's set in the future, and in one of the chapters, in one of the books, it described human were building like skyscrapers, but underground. So it's like downwards. And it's a book, but I sort of image them like a black forest. And when I saw your painting, I was like, whoa, that's what I have the image. But I think that was not really what you intended to paint. I don't know.
Yeah, but this is the beautiful thing about art. The artist has their vision and they paint what they want, and then through their life experience they paint what they want, and then the viewer comes along and they lay their life experience over the top. So they see what they want, not what they want to see. They see what they see, but that comes from their own life experience, their own brain, their own imagination. And it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful because, you know, I've stood there at an art fair and people have come along and they've gone, oh, look, I can see this and I can see that. And it's wonderful because I didn't see it, or I don't see it like that, but they do. And it's brilliant because art is about emotion. I've had people say to me, you know, but I don't know how to look at art. And it's like, you don't have to know how to look at art. You just have to know whether you like it or not. You know, it can be, something can be said, and it's fine to say I don't like it. Because the worst thing for an artist is actually when somebody comes along and goes, phew. Because it's like, oh, if they hate it, you can say what you hate. You know, you've got a conversation. If they love it, you've got another conversation. But if they just go,
so it's like, oh, no. Emotion or the exchange that it can entail, and better than have nothing. You know, like a poker face or just to walk past. And that's interesting, because I agree with you. Sometimes, well, it still happens to me sometimes, you know, people say, oh, this is a great artist, this is a great piece. And I was like, but I don't see why it's good.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's hard to, I guess, to reveal your true feeling, because we're in a society and we're influenced by each other. But I guess it's also super revealing for you, like an artist, and people telling you what I see, how I feel, and make connection to, you know, our personal experience. Wow.
But if you think about it, art is emotion, because as you said before, she fell in love with the painting.
Yeah.
You know, my favourite ever painting is Starry Night by Van Gogh.
Oh, I love that too. I love that.
And I would love to go to New York, to MoMA, because I think I'm not sure, but I think he only painted one. A lot of his artwork, he painted more than one of. But I think there's only the one at MoMA in New York, and I would love to go and see it, because I remember the first time I ever saw one of his paintings in real life. I was, 19. It was at the Musée d'Orsay in Paris. We were in Paris for a week with the foundation, and they had it on the edge of a board. I can't even remember which one it is, but they had perspex in front of it, and as you walked past it, you could see how thick the paint was. You can't tell that from a picture, but you could just see the layers of paint on it, and it was just like, oh my God. It's like when you try and photograph your work to show to people, you can never get the colours right.
That's, I know.
The colour doesn't, and also when you put it out onto the internet, it's, if I get it right on my monitor, your monitor might be set up completely differently. You might be, you know, it might be set and you might not see the colours at all like I'm seeing them. I've got a friend who has a blue filter on their phone. So when I share my blue artwork with him, he says to me, I don't know what blues I'm seeing because I've got a blue filter on my phone to help my eyes. So he sees the blues completely different to how I see them. You know, and it's even a simple thing as taking a picture under a white light, taking a picture under sunlight, taking a picture on a cloudy day, and taking a picture under a yellow light. It all changes, and it's just fascinating. It's really, but it's a nightmare when you're trying to share your work, because people might think they're seeing one thing, and then it gets there and they're like, oh, it's a different
colour. Not really what I expected, or right.
Yeah, some of the experimental work I've been doing at the moment is mixing a lot of blues and green, well, blue and yellow, and they make like greens, greeny blues, and the camera just cannot pick up the variety of, my phone cannot pick up the variety of colour. So people are seeing them and they're looking quite, they just don't look as good. And I took one in sunlight, and because there was texture, the line of texture picked up the sunlight, and somebody said to me, how did you get that gold in the pic? And I was like,
I do like this.
That's sunlight. That's not actually there. And it was like, that's a great idea. Write that one down. That's a great idea. I've got some gold somewhere. We could do that. But yeah, so
side, it may give you some inspiration too, right? Like people telling you, whoa, you've been putting gold, and maybe next time you can try to add some touch of the golden touch into it.
Yeah, exactly. It's brilliant. Or even just aluminium and then paint over it to make it look gold. Because gold,
Yeah.
gold will, no, gold doesn't tarnish. Silver tarnishes, and the cheaper metals tarnish, but gold won't tarnish.
Gold will. Oh, okay. Wow.
But then again, most picture frames that you see that are gold
Yeah.
are not actually, they're actually covered in a different colour. The
Okay.
way that the gilders work them, they're
Yeah.
all often covered in, they put on this really lovely 23¼ carat gold, and then they cover over it.
This feels a bit pity, but I'm gonna definitely pay attention next time when I went to the museum. Go to the museum.
Have a look, because that's the type of frame I used to make that go to museums.
Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah.
why you know all the details and.
Yeah, I've never been a gilder, but I learnt the basics, because when you it's the wrong topic of conversation, but when you carve, you can mess a gilder up. If you carve it slightly wrong, you can mess the gilder up, and it takes them longer to do their job, which they don't want. So I learned how to gild in order to help with my carving, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fascinating subject.
Wow.
But,
Wow.
yeah.
Actually, you're really like a multidiscipline artist, because I know that you paint, you do the frames, you do the gild work. Recently, you've been doing stitch work, and for your 100-day art challenge.
Yep.
So could you tell us a bit about that? Because I was curious, every day see you collecting like the candy papers and doing the stitch work. It's not art as we usually think of, like painting, sculpture, but it's actually super fun.
Yes, it's really good fun. Basically, I wanted to do a 100-day challenge. So I decided, what can I do that's going to keep me going for 100 days? And since I was little, I've always wanted to hold on to these things that people want to chuck away. And I'm quite fascinated with what makes something rubbish and what makes something worth keeping. Like, you might have 2 tickets. What makes you keep one and chuck one is, got all the memories and emotion attached to it, and the other one means nothing, so you chuck it. Whereas this one, you might put in a scrapbook or a frame or because something happened. So I made myself a very small amount of rules, in that I have to use these.
Okay.
So that everything is the same, because I eat these. I like these. Everything is the same size. So that was one stipulation. And the other stipulation was, I can only use something that has been finished in that day. So if there's a packet of something, I can't just snip a bit off because we've eaten it. I have to wait until it's empty. Hence all the sweetie wrappers, because they get eaten very quickly.
Every day. I know which day you eat what.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, but the worst thing is that the unhealthy food has got the best wrappers. Okay, so but if there's paint on it, that means I've painted that day. If there's no paint on it, it means I haven't painted that day. So I can only put paint on when I've painted, and I'm only using the colours that I'm painting with. So some days there's nothing on there because I haven't painted for the past few days. So the ones I've done have no paint on them. And I don't always use everything. I mean, my mum has 5 or 6 cups of tea a day, and I don't put 5 or 6 tea bags on there because it was just a bit.
That's a bit.
Yeah. So, and I don't always use everything. When I started the first ones, I put absolutely everything on there, and I absolutely filled it. But I've got more used to leaving space. My head is getting more used to leaving space, which is quite a thing for me. I'm not very good at leaving space. So that's become, and I was looking through. I have them all in a box, and I was looking through earlier, and they're all really, really different, because the other stipulation is not to have a plan. So I either work as the bits come to me, or I sit late at night and work all the bits together, and I just do whatever feels. And usually the first place I put it down is the place that it ends up, which is really odd, but it's just, that's why they're all so different, because it depends on what I'm feeling that day. I mean, at the moment, I'm really into all the stitching. So you've seen all the ones with loads of stitching.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen yeah, this one like flowers, yeah. And I love the one, yeah, like a Van Gogh's Starry Night, as you just talked about. When I saw it, it just immediately, the spiral form and with the little stick. Yeah, oh, this one, I love it. Yeah, it's really like, you know, the night sky, even if it's colorful.
Yeah, it's just, they're just good fun. I did have the thing yesterday where I spent ages working on one, and it got quite late, and I just suddenly thought, I don't like it. It's not working. So I had to start again. It's the second time it's done it. It's the second time it's done it. In 87 days, it's only the second time. And I just thought, I don't like it. It's not working. I'll put it to one side. So this is yesterday's, which isn't on the internet yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's very different. But yeah, so it's just, and I love it because it's just, I've been doing a course with an artist called Louise Fletcher, which is all about finding your voice as an artist and adopting the attitude that nothing is wrong. Nothing that you do is wrong. You can always fix it. Yeah. So that's come into these. And it's like, you can always work over it. You can always cut it up. You can always use it for something else. Whatever you do, there is no wrong thing, and try not to concentrate on making a finished piece. It's a slightly different mindset. Don't sit there and think, I need to make this, I need to make this, I need to make this. Just sit there and go, oh, what have I got to make this with? Ooh,
like a natural
do it.
Flow your, just let it go.
Let it flow.
Yeah, let it flow naturally and find out the result, but not expecting, you know, for certain results.
Yeah. Don't go into it thinking, I'm going to paint her this or I'm going to do her that. That's why these have been so brilliant, because, you know, my favourite one.
Yeah, which one?
This is my favourite one. Hang on, which way? That's the right way up, yeah. Because they seem to integrate. It's not one tipping over the other. It just works. And it's actually what I would like to start doing with my painting, is putting bits of wrappers and things, but I haven't figured out how yet. And this is another one. This was the first time I think I did that.
Yeah, I remember that one.
So that is just,
you know,
it's just every now and then something just goes, ooh, and oh, I like that. But it's the, you know, and like leaving space. Yeah, I didn't have to paint everything, whereas before that it was like, oh, everything's got to be painted.
You have to fill in every space, right? Every blank space, it got to be covered by something. But this one is different.
Yeah, and the one that's the least covered, I think, is probably this one. It's very very plain.
This one, it's like a fish.
It should be that way.
And I like it because it's not the colorful, but just with the moderation of colors, it highlights, and again with those stitches, I really like this one. Yeah,
so some days are quieter than others, and I've also been bringing in what I've been learning on the course about contrasts and trying to move the eye around, and which I didn't really know before. The last time I painted was when I was 18, so that's a long time ago.
Long time ago,
a long time ago. I've been doing mainly wood carving and sculpting and stuff like that, so taking the painting back on was and also doing abstract is really new for me. I was when I was at school, it was not encouraged. You did still life, you did portrait, or you know, abstract was not a thing at A level. You didn't do it.
Okay, so it's considered like too modern, avant-garde or untraditional way, at least to train you as a painter. You're supposed to paint things and make them resemble what
they're supposed to. So and when I went to art school, I did a 3-dimensional degree, so I'm trying to pull all the bits of me together And it seems that painting might be the base that everything else will work onto. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure, but I'm trying to. This is really helping, using all the different media together is really helping to. But I want to go three-dimensional.
No, I find it interesting because it's not really like for me. It's like, you know, it's a practice, because you told me like you want to put a bit discipline on yourself and do practice every day. So now I understand what you mean, because you're actually doing experiment without a fixed objective, but it's also like a personal diary, because you do it at the end of the day, based on what you have consumed, the sweets that you have been eating, the tea that your mom have been drinking. And at the end of the day, I guess it's all your emotion, you know. Like I like writing, so for me words it's a tool, but I guess for you it's the color, the form, and how to arrange the space, and it's very personal. It's very personal. I think when you do this 100-day art challenge,
it's like a journal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a journal without writing it. Because if I write, I do love writing, but if I used to do morning pages, but I was spending too long doing it, because I'll just keep going. And you can only focus when you're writing, you can only focus on the writing. And because I'm also a carer, I have to have something that I can pick up and put down. So this is ideal, because I just stick the needle in it, put it out of the way of the pets, and I can come back to it.
And then you can come back and continue.
And can carry on adding and, you know, taking away, and it's good fun. And sometimes you sit there and you think, oh my goodness, it's going wrong, but I've learned that you can just put something else over the top.
Or if you get some new inspiration and it goes somewhere else, but different direction, but it turns out as you know, something unexpected. Yeah. Wow, that's fascinating. Yeah, that's actually
I never know where any of them are going.
Yeah. Now we are.
That's why it's such good fun. Because
it's almost the end. It's almost the end, I think, right, for you?
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out whether I should end it or not, because I'm really enjoying it.
I see that you're really having fun with it, you know, like child play with art. And this is what I absolutely love with you. You know, in your artwork, it's so relaxed and not those serious art, and it's a glimpse, you know, into your life, into your personality. It's maybe you should continue, or in a different form, or maybe, you know, we all talk about NFT. Take your 100 thing and make that into an NFT work. Continue with your 100-day art challenge. I look forward to see towards the end and how it will get you, you know, maybe in a new painting or another challenge that you wanted to do. It's really fun. And what I appreciate with you is, you know, I have this image of artists that need to be intellectual, being very superior, but actually you're like all of us.
No, but
it's just a different way for you to, you know, record your daily life.
But we see the world in a slightly different way to most people. I think that's the only difference. You know, if you take me somewhere, I was looking through some photos earlier of, I went to the Natural History Museum. And my photos are all of the stonework, because I don't know if you've ever been to the Natural History Museum.
I like that.
The stonework of the building inside is animals and shells and mollusks, and it was like, oh, look at that. And everyone else is like, no, but there's dinosaurs. No, look at the stones. Look at them.
It's weird to look at. I love those, you know, prehistorical animals and imagine how they were. But your attention was.
Or I've got pictures of, you know, bits of the bones that are connecting in a way that are fascinating, or bits of light, and people are like, okay. No, it's fascinating.
But I mean, that's the fun thing, right? Because you open the eyes for the others. Because I'm sure when I go there, I'm going to look at things in a different angle, and that's I think what's great, that we share about art, and it's really like a sharing experience. Sort of, you made me feel like I'm also contributing to the living of your artwork
Yes.
because I'm
Yes.
bringing what I see, what I experience to enrich it.
But if nobody looked at art, the art has no purpose. The purpose of art is to connect with emotion. So that's what I'm saying. If someone loves it or hates it, that's fantastic. If somebody just goes, then you've missed your mark slightly, because it is an emotional thing. You put emotion in as the artist, and hopefully the viewer gets whatever emotion it is, doesn't matter, but they get something back out of it. So it's, you know, and we talk of art as I love it. You know, as you said earlier, she loved that painting. I love this painting. I love that.
Yeah.
We talk in emotional terms. So, and there's somebody said to me, but I don't, that's what I said. I don't know how to look at art, but you just look at it and you see what you see. Nobody can tell you what to see. They can point out the points where it could, according to form or according to this or according to that, where it could be better or worse or whatever. But the only thing that matters is how you feel.
How you feel. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to know. You don't have to know more.
Yeah, it's great to hear that from you. And I can promise you next time, if you make any artwork that I don't like, I hate, I'll let you know. I won't be polite. I will let you know.
But you don't have to be polite, and you don't have to, but you don't have to be, you can say to somebody, it's not for me, it's not my taste. You don't have to be rude and say, oh my God, it's disgusting. Why did you ever do that? You can just go, it's not to my taste, or the colours aren't my thing, or, you know, there's ways of saying it.
That disturbs me, or to just, you know, be honest and sharing. It's not,
And also, if you go to an art fair or an exhibition, not everybody's trying to sell you something. You can just talk to an artist. Artists are there to talk to you. It's very boring if nobody talks to you. You stand there all day and nobody talks to you. But you know,
actually, I was afraid to talk to the artists. It's like, you know, it's like, oh, because, but it's good to hear from you that when you're at the fair or in the galleries, you were waiting for people to talk to you, because I think a lot of visitors like me, we were a bit shy and like, oh, can I approach to the artist and ask questions? What if I ask the wrong questions, you know, or...
There's no wrong question. I mean, the only thing you shouldn't say is, oh my God, your art's awful. You know, but you can say, where did your inspiration come from? I really like the colours in this one. You know, people... Think yourself, if you're standing there, if someone says something nice to you, like, oh, I like your hair, or I like your, you know, you're going to talk to them.
Yeah, that's true.
If they don't talk to you, then they're an arsehole and they don't deserve to be there.
Yeah.
You know, don't stand with your art at an art fair if you don't want to talk to people, because people are going to come and talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's lovely. It's lovely when people talk to you. You know, and the worst
see what they're saying, and that gives you the enrich your artwork, and I guess that's the purpose of being an artist.
And also, I have trouble because when I'm in a lot of people, I can't always hear very well. So I've spent time at art fairs trying to sidle up to people to hear what they're saying without disturbing them, because I just can't hear it. So it's, you know. But I don't get in the middle of people's conversations, but you just try and overhear what they're saying, because it's nice. Even if they don't like it, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. You've made it, you've enjoyed making it, you're putting it out there. You have to have a slightly thick skin, but go and talk to them. If they don't want to talk to you, it's their loss.
Yeah, we are there to, you know, to connect via art and be friendly and enjoy it. So I think that's it. Just like children, right? You join the game, you see the other kids are playing, and you just go to join them. And I think when you were adults, I don't know why, but we got fear. We got becoming shy. When you see children, they naturally gather together and doing their games without this, you know, what do you do? Okay, can I come or not? Yeah, I think that's something that art bring us back. And like what you do with your art.
Yeah, I mean, some galleries are notoriously, they won't talk to you if you don't look like you have money. But my dad, my dad met, I don't know if you know of John Paul Getty.
No.
Very rich American man, John Paul Getty III. And my dad used to work in a company that used to make frames for very, very wealthy people. And he said, you would not have looked at him twice on the street. He looked like he lived on the streets. That's how he was dressed. This really, really, really wealthy man.
Yeah.
Looked like he lived on the street. Yeah. And so that's why my dad always said to me, you know, you talk to everybody. You can't tell by looking at someone who they are, what they are. So be nice to everybody, because, you know, unless they're being an idiot.
Exactly.
You don't know. And anybody who doesn't treat you that way doesn't deserve to be talked to. So if people are being very stuffy, there's no need, you know, don't speak to them.
Despite your dad, you know, disagreement for you to be an artist, you did learn a lot of things from him, and in the end he supported you, so that's really great.
No, he was lovely. He was lovely. But no, no. I can tell you lots of stories about picture frames, but there we go.
Yeah, we should do a, you know, dedicated session on that, and I'll come up with questions. Yeah. But thank you so much, Jutta, for being with me today. And I'm really enjoying our connection. And good luck with your research, with your art experience. I look forward to more new works from your side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Talk to you soon. Thanks everyone for joining. And
Thank you everybody.
Appreciate Jutta's artwork from her Instagram account. And see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.